Welcome to the Wellness Amazon podcast. This is a podcast for highly sensitive people, people that have high intuition and are just in tune with themselves and the outer world. Come and listen to multiple different high spectrum subjects and just peek behind the curtain. But I warn you, once you peek behind the curtain, you can never go back. Have fun. Enjoy. Welcome, everybody. Season 2 of the Wellness Amazon podcast and another episode with our lovely Alia. We were just talking about how it's 11:11 and I pushed the record button. Can just be good, right? And today we have another of these very, very big subjects. It feels like those really big, hard subjects. I get you because you're the one who's like, yeah, sure, let's do it. You know, I ain't scared. And that subject is surrender. Which, that's a big word. And for some people, that's a scary word. And we're going to talk about how that applies to life itself and all the good things. And by the way, I'm totally decked out for you. I got my Binks t-shirt on from Hocus Pocus. I got my little moon necklace on. And I even have my Hocus Pocus mug.
I love it so much.
Just for you.
I have moon earrings on, my beaded moon earrings. It's a theme. And
there we go.
I always have purple somewhere. So
right. Purple and Halloween, two of Alia's favorite things.
Yes, ma'am.
Know. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So obviously when we talk about surrender, we're not going to talk about white flag and war or anything like this, but metaphorically, we can apply that to life. So what does surrender mean for you?
Ooh, let's start with a giant question right off the bat. Wow. I think surrender is when, like you said, we're not talking about war. We're not talking about physical fighting. We're not talking about giving up in a situation where someone is beating you down. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about surrendering to ourselves, surrendering to the universe or to God or whatever your higher power is, and realizing that I don't have to fight everything all the time. I can surrender to my highest good. I can surrender and kind of lay down all that energy that I'm putting into fighting this battle of, like, you know, the salmon, they got to go upstream, right? I mean, that just happens. They got to do it. But that whole battle of fighting to go upstream, we're not salmon. So we don't actually have to do that. And that flow, that stream, that river, and we need to be in it. There's times we just need to be in it and go ahead and go with it and see what happens. And I mean, there's so many ifs, but sometimes all those things. But I think at the basic level, surrender is giving in to myself, to my higher power, to the universe, and saying, okay, I don't know what direction I'm supposed to go. I don't know which door to open. So I'm going to sit back and I'm going to breathe. And for me, maybe I'm going to meditate, or I'm just going to ground myself and see what the universe brings and says, all right, this is your direction. Let's go that way.
What's the opposite of surrender?
Oh, fighting. fighting. I think, I know the last time, and maybe even the podcast before, but we talked about death and grief and all that. And we had a, very major loss in our family last year. And I think that fighting and not wanting to let somebody go, say, for instance, and, if someone is very terminally ill and there's no more fighting left, there's that fight. I cannot let them go. I do not want to let them go. And then there's that moment where you're like, it's okay. Their journey in this life is ending and it's their turn to transition to the next. And it's okay. And I'm going to let go of that fight and wish to hang on with all my might and to let them go. I'm going to go with the flow. I'm going to feel the grief. I'm also going to feel that overpowering love that I have for them. And I think that kind of let go is huge. And I mean, I've been there multiple times where you're just fighting and and you know it's a losing battle. You know you can't make them stay. And then finally, when you have that acceptance of, okay, okay, this is happening, and I'm going to let them go with peace, and I'm going to do what I can to live and to try to feel that peace, and to understand that now I'm going to go through the grief process. And I know that took a different turn, but hopefully that spells it out a little bit.
No, yeah, it does. And it's a beautiful example for people because just like me, I thrive on examples. I need something, out of someone's life where it's like, okay, look, this is what happened, and this is a good example of surrender. Because surrender is a word where it can have 1,000 different meanings for people. And I'm sure that it depends on where you are in your life, where you might welcome it a little bit more than in other areas. So why is surrender so important?
Well, I think to surrender and to go with the flow doesn't mean that we're giving up autonomy. It doesn't mean that we're just giving up. It means that we don't want to fight something where we feel like we're just beating our heads against a wall.
Mm.
We want to say, okay, let me see if I can think of an example for people like in recovery. My husband works in a recovery facility, and I think maybe a good situation or example for surrender for someone in recovery is to understand, that they want to keep fighting, and they want to fight so hard against the disease of addiction and against that pull of whatever the substance is, but surrendering in that knowing that, yep, I do have an issue. Yep, I do need help with this, and it's okay. And it's okay to say, can somebody help me? Because I've been fighting really hard, and I just can't do this on my own. Even with therapy, it doesn't have to be with addiction. It's anything when you're like, you know what? I can't do this on my own. Can somebody help me? Or is there something I can do to try to get in touch with my higher power and say, hey, I don't know which way to go. I don't know where to get help. So I'm giving myself over to you, or I'm giving myself to the process or to the flow or whatever it is. And I can't just keep fighting where I'm just hanging on, by the last threads. I need to go ahead and let go and let somebody come in and help me.
Yeah. Yeah. Control is, I
Control.
think,
There we go. Yeah.
one
Giving
of
up that
those
control.
words. And for,
Hmm.
for a lot of us, it's hard to give up control, right? Because if I'm in control, then I have the power to change things and to steer things up. But if I give that up, I don't know what's coming.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's surrender. Surrendering to that unknown. To, oh
Mm-hmm.
crap. I don't know what's about to happen. Okay, we're gonna try this out, and hopefully I've made some decent choices to get to that point, and hopefully I've made the choices to have good people in my life that can be on this journey with me. And okay, we're gonna see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of trust.
Hmm.
Mm,
Hmm.
that's
Yeah,
hard.
yeah. And having that trust in yourself is a whole nother ball game. And once you get to that point where you have that faith in yourself, that,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, maybe just maybe I've made a couple good decisions here and there, and now I'm gonna have faith that the people that I'm hoping to help me, or the places that I'm hoping to help me, are good. So here's an example I have of giving up that control. The few times in my life that I've had to have surgery,
Mm-hmm.
I did lots of research, right? I do all the research. I do the research on the doctor, the facility, and the surgery itself, and all the things. And so by the time I get to that table and I'm in my little white gown or whatever it is, and I'm prepped for surgery, the few times I haven't had lots of surgeries, but the few times I haven't been nervous at that point, because I figure once I get to that point, I have done everything that I can do to make sure that I'm going to be safe and that these are good people. Now I'm giving up complete control because I'm about to be knocked out and
Mm-hmm.
cut open. So
Mm-hmm.
I have found I don't have stress in those moments. And I think I remember telling myself that, hey, well, I did everything I could, and I have faith in myself that I did all the legwork, and now I have faith in the professionals to keep me alive and to perform a successful surgery. And I think that was one of my better examples of giving up control at that point and not trying to fight anything because, well, here I am and let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the perspective of a recovering control freak, right?
Mhm.
I know we have a little bit of an age gap, but I really don't think that that's it. I really don't. I think it's just maybe it's you as a person, the way you grew up, the way that your job. I mean, what your trade is. You are a master in psychology. You're specialized in communication. All of those things. I am just now at that point where I'm learning to navigate this. But here comes the but, looking back at childhood and youth. So before I had kids, I was a master in flow. Just
Mhm.
surrender totally to God and the universe, whatever you want to call it, right?
Mhm.
Never was there any incident in my life where I had a reason to not trust or trust was broken from the higher power. However, that turned after having kids, maybe because there is well, now it's not just me, right? I'm responsible for these two little beings that I have to keep alive. And then it started with a lot of things where now it's like it's almost the way where I want to get back to how I was before
Mhm.
children. And it's
Mhm.
hard work.
Mhm.
So when you're listening and you're like, this is super triggering. I don't know if I can do this. This is okay. You're not alone. The self-help courses I have taken, the lady always, and this is about relationships too. She talks about you got three things. You got to trust yourself. You got to trust the higher power. You got to trust your partner if you have a partner. If not, then just whatever, your friends or your acquaintances, whoever is close in your life. If you got one out of three down, fantastic, right? And I realize, holy cow, I have issues with all three of them.
Mhm.
Why?
Mhm.
It's so strange. Why? And with my rational brain, I can sit here and tell myself, makes no sense, right? You've always got your own back. You can always pick yourself up off the floor if you fall. Higher power has always caught you in your entire life. So again, there's no track record of being like, yeah, this happened like three times and that's why I don't trust you. No. And the same with my partner. So, that hurdle of that letting go part, when you're talking about just letting go, my brain goes, yeah, but what if I
Yeah.
didn't do enough research? What
That's the
if?
part we have to let go.
Mm-hmm.
The what ifs, the second
Mm-hmm.
guessing. Yeah.
Um,
But it's such a fine line
mm-hmm.
because we have to do that to an extent, and then we have to stop when it starts to become a negative coping mechanism. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm listening. I'm trying to absorb it and trying to
So, okay, so I am also a parent. I've been a parent since I was 20 years old. And I believe there's no real going back to the way things were pre
mm-hmm.
children, right? Of course. Um because we've learned and grown so much, especially I have adult children. Your kids are up there in their teenage years. And so we've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
So we've learned a lot. We've experienced a lot since then. And so, yes, obviously we're changed. I see what you mean about going back to that kind of free, I go with the flow. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Mm-hmm.
And and it is hard when your children are younger and like they're your sole responsibility. And I will give you a little heads up for people who don't have adult children yet. It doesn't actually get easier when they become adults. I think it's a different thing when I realize that not everything that they do is my responsibility anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's letting go of that control of letting them lead their lives and whatever that looks like. But I digress. Um, it it's harder when they're younger because you're like I can't really go with the flow because I've got all these responsibilities
Mhm.
for people that you're right. I have to keep them alive and fed and thriving and all the things. There is a time when I think every parent probably at some point does what you're talking about. Like, man, remember how I used to be? Wonder how to get back there. I wonder how to do that. So I think we need to think about realistically and not just idealistically, what are the parts about that we want to bring forward into our life now? Because obviously there was stuff from pre-parenthood and younger days that were like, now we can leave that back there. We don't need the impulsive decision making or the bad decision making or all the things that we have since hopefully learned from. We can leave that there. But what are the good parts that we do want to incorporate into our lives today? So maybe we make a list. Maybe we literally write a list of these are the qualities that I miss from myself back then. How can I incorporate that into my life now? And once I decide on that list, are there hurdles to overcome to get back to that point? How can I overcome those hurdles? And for me, like really putting things down in black and white can be really helpful just to help organize my thoughts. Because if I'm
Mhm.
just sitting here thinking and thinking and thinking, and your thoughts they go like this and they go like this, and they're here and they're there, and I don't have ADD or ADHD. So I
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
people who do, you and my husband and one of my children, it's even more difficult, right?
Yeah.
So I say, let's go with the concrete. Let's write stuff down, even if the ideas are flowy and they're not concrete. That's okay. We can still write them down. We can write words down and go from there and be like, all right, I want to bring some of that free flow back. I want to bring some of that, not a lack of control, but a lack of feeling like I need to be in 100% control. And how can I make my environment fit that? So for me, I created this room, which I know you can only see part of, but it is my space. It's got dark purple walls, which you can see behind me. On the other walls are dark green, and it's just filled with stuff that I love. So it's kind of like my space. I can just come in here and I can relax. And I literally created a physical space for me to just decompress in. And do that. It doesn't have to be an entire room. It could be something you're holding. It could be for me, it's always like rocks and feathers and leaves. But whatever it is that you love and find beauty in, that you can maybe hold in your hands, or you can hold a picture of, and just decompress in that moment and let things go and ground yourself. I think that's a good place to start to let go of that control.
Mhm. Yeah, I started during the day s- identify moments in my day where I'm trying to get control over something I can't control. My best example is always traffic. I, I,
Yes,
I
I
I
feel
can't, I
you.
can't, I can't get out of the car and make the person, and I can't talk to them and tell them, "Hey, did you forget where the gas pedal is? It's on the right."
Or the
Um,
bleaker.
yeah.
Hmm.
So when I'm stuck somewhere or it's not going fast enough, I need to realize everything on its time. You're on the perfect timeline. This is probably keeping you safe. This might be protecting you from something or someone. So just let it go. Let it go. And then I really have to like take a deep breath and exhale and go, I let go. And I'm physically letting go my muscles and all of that. And that these baby steps, because we've talked so many times before in any subject about baby steps,
Yep.
they really do help getting me in that flow. This is going to sound weird. So, okay, I need to backtrack a little bit. We went to your house for Thanksgiving
Hmm.
2 years
2 years
ago.
ago? 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, I think it was 2023.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, During that time period, I was recommended a book, and that book just came in the mail before our trip to you, and that is called The Surrendered Wife.
Hmm.
Now, even that title, I know, raises some hackles.
Mhm.
And even for me, I was like,
Mm.
surrender? Why? What do you mean? I got to surrender to my husband? Are you crazy?
Yeah.
So I'm reading this book, and literally every chapter I have to put it down. I have to breathe because it's going against some beliefs, and I had to challenge those beliefs. Now, fast forward, this is now 2 years of work. We now sometimes have these things called, and this is brand new, surrender dates, where he will be in charge. And mind you, I'm giving this to him voluntarily. So it's not like I'm not being made. I'm not, surrender doesn't mean you're enslaved or something, you know.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
he has to pick out my clothes, my shoes. He tells me what to wear. He doesn't tell me where we're going. And when we're at the place, he will have to order my meal. So I am just completely, I'd make no decisions, which by the way, it is glorious. Okay. It sounds weird, but I mean, when you're doing this with someone who knows you and you trust them, it's fabulous. I think it's harder for him because
Mhm.
he's nervous about like, I don't want to pick something you don't like, or, you know, especially with the food thing.
Mhm.
Um, but it is putting me in a space of just letting go and not being able, whenever I want to interject, I'm like, that's against the rule. That's supposed to. And it's good because now I am watching myself and I can take note in my brain. Why did I think I had to like interject? What was this thing? Just even if it's just a micro thing, right? Which of course could be because you're in the mood for, I don't know, a diet soda instead of a water or whatever. But also, am I going to die if I drink a water? No, probably not. It's going to be okay, you know? So these weighing options and being okay with the outcome and being okay with the flow. And it's really helped me a great deal to practice that. It's like a muscle, that let go muscle.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's been it's been a long journey.
That is a fantastic practice in being super introspective too.
Uh-huh.
To be able to take those moments when you want to interject and step back in your brain and think, why do I want to interject? That's fantastic. Like, I think my husband would probably be like, you want me to do what?
Yeah.
Because I always laugh. He doesn't like to make decisions. I used to all those years that he was in law enforcement, he'd come home and he'd have to make decisions for people all day long, right? And
Uh-huh.
he'd come home and I couldn't get him to make any decisions. What do you want for dinner? He's like, uh, do you want fast food? Pizza? I could not get him to make a decision. And I think he was just so tired and burnt out from making decisions at work that he got home and was like, no, I can't. And that's what I used to think. And now he's been retired from that career for a number of years now. And now he does, the mental health stuff. And he still is like, when it comes to me, he's like, you make this decision. Like, it's
Uh-huh.
okay. And I think it's just our personalities.
Uh-huh.
He- He's a Libra, I'm a Taurus, and he's more go with the flow, and I'm more let's do this. And so
Right.
I think that would be a fantastic practice. And you're right, it's not like a he's forcing you to do anything. It's just a practice in your own relationship, and I think that's great. I'm gonna suggest it to him, and I will keep you posted on his reaction. And I'm gonna say, but DJ did it.
Oh my God. You should videotape that. You should videotape that. And then the last one's gonna be like, but DJ did it.
Then he's gonna be
Putting
like,
a little bit of pressure in there. Uh,
and
uh,
then to see if I can really hold it in all night to be like,
mhm.
but I wanted fries or
Yeah.
whatever.
And the first time we did this, I was so nervous. I was like, I don't know. I don't even know where we're going. Like, I don't know. Are we going to have Chinese, Mexican? Like, I have no idea, right? And I thought I had like a hunch, and then we're going somewhere where I had no idea even where we are. Like somewhere in Orlando. I don't know. Where are we going? And he did fantastic. And then when he looked at the menu, he pointed at something and he goes, look, I understand that I'm supposed to do this, but could you please like wink at me or something? Like give me a sign. Like you don't have to say anything, right? And I'm thinking to myself, well, that's the same thing as saying anything. But he's like, okay, I'm going to get because it was a Turkish restaurant.
Okay.
And I love Turkish food. And it was the grilled mixed platter. And it's funny because I told him, I said, that is exactly the thing that I wanted to get because it was for 2 people, you know? I was like, yeah, that's great, you know? And he's like, yeah, it's a super safe choice for me because there's a little bit of everything on there. Like, it's great.
That's a good
It's great.
decision. There you
It's
go.
good. So, you know, again, I didn't even tell him anything about this, but he took baby step kind of,
That's
you know,
good.
he played it safe. It was like, yes, for the first time, that's fantastic, you know? And I like that you mentioned astrology because, I mean, you already know this, but for our listeners, so when you look at a natal chart, and we're going to get into this because I have someone coming on the podcast talking about astrology. So excited. When you look at the natal chart, and I think, I always forget if it's the left side or the right side, but I think it was the right side. And all these, it's a circle, and there's all these lines for somebody who has never seen a natal chart before. And if all these activities in that circle are on one side, let's just say the right side for giggles, everything is controlled by fate. And if it's on the other side, you are the active person.
I'm looking because I have mine somewhere. So
Oh,
that's what I'm
yes.
doing. But I'm
I
not
have mine too. You know, that is a great idea.
sure it's somewhere. It's printed in everything.
Oh, here. I think it's even in my favorites.
Oh, yay.
There it is. Is that mine? Yes. Oh, yeah. So I don't know if I can hold that in the camera. So it's all on one side. All the activity is on one side, and it's the right side. So if I look at it, it's on the right side. There's 3 lines on the left side. All the other hundreds of lines are on the right side. And back then I was friends with an actual astrologer who was like went to school for this. And she said, oh, this is someone who has no control over anything in their life, even if you want to. It's all fate. It's laid out for you. The higher power is in charge. And I look at my husband's natal chart and it's the complete mirror image. His is all on the left side. So he is the activator. He makes decisions that have so I think that's why we're married, because he's like the driving force. And I think I'm in control. I'm actually not.
Well, interesting because you are the same zodiac sign. So interesting that, but on your natal charts, you are mirror images. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because we're both Pisces. So you would think that we're both very flowy, whatever. And you know my husband. My husband is the most laid back, flowy person. You would think he is that one. He is the one who's, oh, everything's fate. This is la 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 land here, you know, because he's like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. Da 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 da. He has total faith. He has total faith. He can surrender no problem to the higher power. He's like, yeah, God's got me. I know it. I love Jesus and Jesus loves that. It's just how he walks through life, you know? And I'm like, but are you sure? You sure you don't have control over this? Because I don't think you checked enough, you know, that's me. But then checking on the reality of it, if you call astrology your reality, you know, it's like, actually, he is the one who's pulling everything, probably with his surrender. You know, because I always say, what do they always say? If you trust the universe rewards you. You know, so so weird. So weird.
Now I have to pull up our charts. Go look. I always pull them up and, you know, make sure I check everyone's sun, moon, rising, ascendant, Venus, all the things. But yeah, I didn't even think to check hemispheres. Well, I guess that would be hemispheres, whatever, this side. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, I was going to say something. Oh, back to DJ making the decision and you going with the flow to dinner. So in oh gosh, it might have been episode 1 where you're talking about as an HSP
Hmm.
wanting to make sure you know the menu before you go somewhere and
Yep.
have that sense of control. How did that work out for you when you completely ended up giving up the control and just going with your husband's flow?
I thought about that exact thing because usually not only do I look at the menu, but I would probably also pick out my clothing, knowing where we're going, because I don't want to be overdressed or underdressed. Like, I don't know. Are we going to go to like a 4-star or whatever? Or are we going to go to fast food? I don't know, you know? Um, but he also had to tell me what to wear.
Hmm.
And he also had to pick from the menu anyway. So I was like, rationally, I was like, oh, what? You can worry about all that stuff. It doesn't even matter. Even if you would know where you're going because you found out somehow and he's telling you to wear that dress and I couldn't be like, no, I'm not because that's not. So it just, but again, this is with a person I trust tremendously. So he knew not to put me in some weird rags while we're going to a 4-star restaurant, right?
Hmm.
Um, and he also wouldn't, I didn't have to look at the menu before because he would pick something for me that I knew he knows I like. So
Yeah.
that kind of canceled each other out, but it
Mhm.
still was a little bit of a trust practice because we also know that sometimes our men um might not super, I mean, my husband 9 times out of 10 doesn't even know what he likes to eat on the menu. You know, he asked, "Hey, do I like mango? I don't like mango." "No, you don't like mango." "Oh, okay." So now I'm thinking like, how is this going to go with me? He
Yeah.
needs to now know what I like, you know?
Yeah.
But he did. He did. He
Good.
did.
That's fantastic. I cannot wait to tell Mark about this or just have him listen to this episode and be like, guess what we're doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the second thing was too that I was like, well, I was the initiator this time, right? I told him, this is the exercise we're doing. It's what you have to do, right? And the other day I said, hey, I think we should do that again. And he goes, oh, it's already planned. And you don't know when it's going to happen. And I'm like, oh, look at you. Look at you. You like that. So I was like, oh, yay. We got the point across on what this is all about, right? Um, it's a good practice. And, but like what you said, it reminded me of this weird thing when people are saying like, yeah, you could be hit by a bus tomorrow. You don't know. And I'm trying to sometimes rationalize it that way, right? That I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow and I can just let the upper divine, right?
Yep.
Just flow. And maybe I flowed so much in my earlier years because I was more in that astrology natal chart. Like, I mean, that's my essence, right? That's my core being. And I'm trying to strangle it right now and wrestle with it.
Well, I think before we become parents too, we don't have the same level of worries and fears and anxieties that all of a sudden we become parents and we're like, oh my God, like I love this being more than anything on the planet, and I'm going to keep it alive and I'm going to keep it safe and loved. And holy crap, I never knew I could have this level of stress and anxiety. And I think, I have a lot of friends with high anxiety and high stress. And I'm always like, all right, let's think of the worst case scenario and whatever it is. Okay, now let's break it down from there. If that were to happen, then what? What next? Like we're stressing about something. Why are we stressing about stuff we have zero control over? And I mean, I get it. There's things that stress me out and it's not always rational and I have to talk myself down. But I'm like, okay, so I have friends that are probably going to be PCSing. They're going to be moving in like a year and a half or 2 years. And for like the last year, she has been super, super stressing about selling their house when the time comes.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, you're making improvements to the house. You're doing things to it now. That's good. And I understand it's a difficult housing market to sell in here in San Antonio right now because of all the new builds. But we can't do anything about that. Control what you can control, which is making your house nice, doing the painting or the fixing or whatever. Replace your floors, whatever you got to do. But the rest of it, there's no point in stressing over it. There's nothing you could do. Let's work on letting that go, because all you're doing now is causing your body to react negatively to all that stress for the foreseeable future, and that's not good for you.
Mhm.
And it has no positive outcome. So, I have those conversations with people when they're when their anxiety is really high. Let's bring it on down. Let's do different techniques to bring the anxiety down. And now let's talk about what's causing the stress. And a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times it'll come back to that feeling that I cannot release control of this situation because, oh my God, bad things might happen. So let's just talk about the reality of it. What would that look like if? What's the
Mhm.
worst that can happen if? Okay, now let's talk about what probably will happen or what you hope will happen. Or let's just talk it through rather than just letting those feelings spiral and those emotions go through the roof and oh my God, I'm having a panic attack. Let's bring that down. I mean, I've had panic attacks. I get it. They feel horrible. I do not want to ever have one again.
Yeah.
And so let's bring that down. Let's find ways to discuss in what ways we can release the emotional and mental control over a situation that we don't actually have control over.
Yeah.
Which always comes back to what? Communication. Communication.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's good. That's good. And I've learned that with anxiety too, that's actually a practice to imagine the worst case scenario. Are we okay with the worst case scenario? Are we not? Well, is it actually realistic? If you
Yeah.
give it a number from 1 to 10, how realistic is that to actually happen?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
hmm
Yeah, let the
Like I
rational
talked
brain
to,
take over.
yeah, we're talking about worrying about money. Okay. And that's a huge worry. Probably everywhere in the world right now, is especially in our country. It's, I think, even bigger worry. Okay. Don't come at me. I get it. There's third world countries, everybody. I know everyone is dealing with money issues.
Right.
But right now, say in our society, there's a lot of people even more worried about it lately. And at least the people I've been talking to. And we're like, all right, in our personal situation, we have a house, a roof over our heads, we have food, we're able to feed our children, our animals, each other, they're not coming to repo anything. I mean, and that's just our situation. Obviously, that's not for everybody, but I try to bring it back that way. What do you have right now that you can be grateful and thankful for? And it could be the smallest thing, and that's okay. What can I be thankful for right in this moment, right now? And let some of those worries go. And can I eat today? Can I breathe? Can I move? Can I walk? Can I talk? Do I have someone to talk to? I mean, just everyone's situations are different, but hang on to this that one little thing and let's build off of that. I was just talking to a girlfriend this morning who is going through really, really hard times and with her whole family. And we were talking about that. What is something little that I can be grateful for right now? Let me let go of all the worrying thoughts, the criticism that come in from other people. Let's identify that those people are toxic for me. And I'm just going to have to be over here in my space. And I'm grateful for what I have and just hang on to that. Say it's her little dog or it's something that she can hold on to. She's very artistic. So I'm going to create some art right now. I'm going to
Mm,
shut the rest of the world out and I'm going to create something right here. And it's just for me. And I'm going to feel good about that.
mhm. That's
That was probably,
beautiful.
but
No,
thank you.
that's beautiful.
Good.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, and at the end of this episode, we're going to talk about practical tips to do because when we talk about, like last time we talked, it was boundaries. Now we're talking about surrender. Sometimes it's hard, at least for me, because it's such a big thing to think about practical earthly things that I can do because the word of letting go and surrender, it sounds so spiritual and so not earthly, right? And then
Yeah.
it's like, well, what can I do to foster that? And that's a beautiful thing, the gratitude and creating.
hmm
Yeah, for sure.
hmm
Is there, do you think there is a time and a place when you should absolutely not surrender.
I mean, the first thing that pops into my head based on my professional history is, of course, people in domestic violence situations.
Mhm.
And no, you need to get out. You need to get you out. You need to get your kids out. You need to get out. Like, no, we're not surrendering to abusive people. We don't surrender to abuse. We need to get the hell out and find whatever you need. And I know, statistically, it takes at least 7 times for a victim to leave an abusive domestic violence situation. And statistically, the most dangerous time is when they are leaving. I understand all that. But I think for me, that would be the first thing that pops into my head that says, no, we do not surrender. We do not surrender to abuse. We do not surrender to anybody trying to physically take our power or take our autonomy for nefarious reasons. Somebody that wants to hurt us, hurt our children, vulnerable people at all. We don't surrender in those situations.
Yeah.
I think there's that line between surrendering to the higher power or to the universe and giving up completely and not wanting to move on. We don't surrender so that we can give up on everything and give up all decision making and just say, I can't do this anymore. I'm throwing in the towel. That's different than surrender.
Mhm.
Um, and I mean, people can argue it all day, we could discuss it all day, and we could come up with different terminology all day. But I think the important part is that we are letting go of trying to control situations that we cannot control. And we're letting go of toxic headspace, toxic thoughts, things maybe we have heard from other people that we've adopted, and that negative self-talk. Now, no, we're letting all of that go. We don't need that. We're going to surrender that, put that down. Um, and that's different than giving into that negative self-talk and letting people who don't have our best interest take over our lives.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, not there's a time and space to change situations for yourself where you need to take action. And I think sometimes that, of course, if we talk about like domestic violence and very, very negative situations, I think for me that's easier to comprehend, but sometimes it's those more mundane things where I go to the default of, but did I try to change enough? And am I at the right timing to say, okay, it's time to let go? Or did I not do enough? Am I being lazy? Like this friction work, because there's people that will be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna let the universe handle it, but they are not doing anything like at all. He's like, now there's this, and this is a joke. Mind you, people, this is a joke, an actual joke I'm going to tell you that our priest at church told us, okay? I'm trying to get it together. So this old lady lives in a hut and there's a flood, right? And it's going to kill her if she doesn't get out. She needs to get rescued. And she prays to the Lord. Lord, help me. Lord, and she believes in God 100%. And somebody with a canoe comes over and says, "Hey, come on, jump in." No. I'm praying to the Lord. The Lord's gonna help me. And the guy in the canoe's like, "Okay, whatever, And then the Coast Guard comes like, "Come on, hop in the boat." And she goes, "No. I'm praying to the Lord. The Lord's gonna save me." And a helicopter comes because the water is rising. She's on her roof. The helicopter comes and says, "Come on. No. I'm waiting for the Lord. The Lord's gonna help me." And well, I mean, she doesn't make it, and she's in heaven, and she goes, "Why did you not save me?" And God says, "Girl, I tried 3 times. I send you a canoe, a boat, and a helicopter, but you had to take that action, So it's just, this just reminds me, it was a great metaphor, when he was telling that. Everybody was laughing. I was like, this is so true. Sometimes We have to be aware of the things and chances around us and then take them and not be
Mhm.
like, oh, yeah, no, the universe or God or whatever is going to take care of it. Well, yeah, it does, but you still have to move forward, you know?
You still have to do
Um,
something.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Take
Yeah,
action. Yes, absolutely. And
yeah.
that's, I mean, having faith in whatever higher power or the universe or whatever, that is an amazing thing. And also knowing that you still need to walk in that, you
Mm-hmm.
still to move forward. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And
yeah.
I think I have a pretty good feeling or idea or belief in faith that the higher power or whatever it may be doesn't want bad for me. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so trying to figure out, okay, well, I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to keep living my life and keep trying to be a better person than I was yesterday and trying to do more with my life at the same time with the understanding that I am putting my faith out there that the right people are going to come along or the right situation or I'm where I need to be right now, or if I'm not, then if it's time to move on, then I put that out there, open myself up, and I'm like, all right, well, show me which path to follow, which door to open, and I'm going to keep moving forward on my own, and I have faith that that's gonna happen. Like, when we ended up moving to Texas, it's completely not in the cards, but that's where life ended up leading us, and that's where we are now. We had never stepped foot in the state of Texas before 2023. Life's winding ways ended up getting us here. I'm like, "Okay, cool. This is where we're supposed to be right now." If we had to fight it the whole way and be like, "Ah," or it "I don't wanna be here," or "I don't wanna make the move," or whatever the case may be, who knows where our lives would be, like the choose your own adventure books. But fighting the whole way, all it does is make you tired, stressed out,
Yeah.
angry, cranky. Um, it's like, okay, if something isn't how I want it to be, what can I do to change it? And what can I do to change my perspective about how I view that something? Because
Yeah.
that's the only thing we can do, right? Work on changing our perspective if it's a situation we're not feeling good about right now. Change our perspective and figure out, if needed, what can we do to get out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you said that so beautifully, especially when you said that you have a strong belief and a strong faith in that whatever higher power there is only wants the best for you. And I think that's key. Letting go of that, oh, there is possibility for punishment. I'm getting punished. And then also reframing, yeah, there is, like what you just said about grief and the tragedy you had to go through. But those were not punishments. Those were, and I don't know if I mean, I know that I'm not going to step on your toes because we have talked about this before. But people that are listening that might go through a hard time, this is not devaluing that at all. But it is a process of learning and development, even if it hurts. But it's not a punishment. I don't want to because when people think that, that fuels that, oh my, what if? That fuels that what if thinking, that you're always scared that there is a shadow around the corner next if you move forward, right?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And thinking of everything in those terms, or thinking of well, things are going good right now, so that must mean something bad is coming. That's all
Oh,
self-talk that we can reframe. We don't have to stick with that. And I mean, I've experienced that. I know what that's like. And it's like, no, no, no. Just because things are going good, it doesn't mean that that means that I'm deserving of something going bad.
yeah.
We all have ups and downs in life. That's how we know when we're happy, because we know what it feels like to not feel happy, or vice versa. So, if you've lived even a few years in life, okay, maybe a few months, a few days, you're already knowing what it feels like to be sad or unhappy or happy and content and all the things, that it's part of the human experience
Mhm.
and doesn't make the hard times easy at all. But I think every day I try to remember, like, okay, I'm feeling good right now and I'm going to hang on to that. And that doesn't mean that all of a sudden I need to feel bad next. It
Yeah.
means I'm just going to appreciate this moment. I'm feeling good. I can think of my loved ones who have passed on and I can smile and laugh and I can talk to them and be happy. And there are going to be times when I think of them and cry, and that's okay too, because
Mhm.
that's part of the process. It's not about waiting for that other shoe to fall, like, oh God, I'm feeling good, but now I have to feel anxious because I feel like the feel good's going to go away. And no, no, we don't need to do that. We can live
Mhm.
right now and enjoy this feeling and be like, when I think back on this moment, I can smile about it and I can feel good about it all over again, even
Yeah.
in a hard time.
Yeah. There's a that was something on, I think either it was a book or a podcast, but it was from Brene Brown.
Hmm.
Brene talked about it was a personal experience, I think, from one of her friends, and he lost his wife to cancer. And he said exactly to that point, he said, I wish I would have enjoyed the joyful moments more without thinking about that the other shoe was going to drop, because I took joy away from those moments and the outcome essentially is the same, but I had less joy in those moments. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the shoe is going to drop or not. I need to live that moment 100% and not lose joy thinking about that damn shoe, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We lose a lot of opportunities. Hang on, let me shut my door. I heard my older son just walked in, so the dog
Mm,
started crazy. But we lose a lot of opportunities of joy and of appreciation and all that when and it's hard. I mean, we watched a loved one fight cancer for 2 years straight. And I understand how hard it is to think, nope, nope, I want to enjoy this moment. And so I get that because it's sad and it's hard and it sucks. Um, but had I not done that, like, I would have had even less time to laugh with him or less time to just make fun of whatever was on TV or to enjoy our time. And so, yeah, that is such a key point, particularly in dealing with someone who's sick, is no, let's just celebrate this moment right here, right now. Let's make this moment good. And yeah, we know it's going to be really sad when it's time for them to go. But right now, let's enjoy it. Let's have fun. Let's commemorate it somehow. Let's make something together that I can keep. Let's take lots of pictures and videos that I can keep for the rest of my life.
hmm
We did that. I have so it was our son-in-law that we lost last year. And so and we it was cancer and he was sick for a long time. But, I have different soaps that he and my youngest, so his brother-in-law, they made little soaps together. And I showed them how to it was a melt and pour. They melt and poured soap, and they colored them, and they picked their scents, and they did a little paint with mica powder on them, and I still have those. I still have those little soaps that they made together. And, of course, I have the pictures and videos I took while they were doing it. Things like that. It's like, find the times to enjoy and appreciate those moments. Absolutely. So now I can show them to my youngest and be like, remember when you made these? And of course he does. And he gets to hold them and look at them. And it's like something concrete that he can hold and think, we did this together. This was
hmm
our little project. And they were very, very close. So it's, precious that we have that, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And like you said, those moments were full of joy. And I
Yeah.
think, and correct me if I'm wrong, or if you think I'm wrong, there's a little bit of self worth that goes into that too, because you're worthy to enjoy that right now and not think that something is that you're not worthy to have that joy and something is going to come and take it away or make it doomsday or whatever, you're
Yes.
you're worthy of that gift right now.
Mhm.
It's not going to go.
Yeah.
It's not going to go
Yeah.
away.
That's 100%. I'm worthy of having this moment of joy, regardless of the negative circumstance that may have brought us to whatever moment. And I think I've had multiple family members pass away, and two very poignant people both passed away from cancer, different kinds of cancer. One when I was younger, I was a young mom when I lost one of my aunties, was very, very close with. And I didn't know how to deal with any of it. Like she fought cancer for, gosh, I want to say 7 years. And it, it was a different experience for me going through that when she was sick than when my son in law was sick, because being older and having experienced more life, I knew some of these things. We need to celebrate this now. We need to talk now about the situation and enjoy it and live through it. When I was younger and my auntie was sick, it was more like, can we just ignore this? Can we ignore that part where she's sick and she's having to deal with this? And let's we did a lot of laughing. My family always does a lot of laughing, but let's just do laughing and enjoyment and not really address this situation. And so when she passed, it was horrible. That grief lake. I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know how to
Mhm.
process it. I didn't, it took, I mean, it's been 23 years now that she's been gone. And honestly, it's probably just really in the past 10 years that I could talk about it. And,
Mm.
and so, I think having dealt with that now, I'm much more open to discussing losing our son in law. And I try to, hopefully my daughter feels like I'm open with her when we discuss, when we talk, not about him, but about just everything, what we went through. I hope that I'm much more open in discussing the hard stuff than I was before when I was, early 20s and experiencing that kind of massive grief for the first time. And so to bring it back, it is about enjoying the time we have authentically and honestly, and identifying that yes, this is what we're dealing with, whether it's an illness or whether it's whatever hard thing, but saying, but that's okay, because we still get to enjoy this moment. We still get to have that sense of self-worth that we are all
Mhm.
worthy of enjoying this time together, and just be in each other's company and celebrate the relationships that we have with people.
Yeah, so important. Live in the moment and cherish that without thinking of that's that anxiety thinking, right? The future thinking that what's ahead. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. All right. So, practical tips. You have said gratitude,
Hmm.
and I actually have a gratitude journal.
Hmm.
Mm,
Awesome.
yeah, very helpful.
Hmm.
Um, there was someone told me that they had to do a course, and I don't know what they did, some kind of class, and they had to do for 3 days. This is really hard for 3 days. They had to fill three college book, I mean, regular huge pages, 3 pages per day about what they're grateful for, and you couldn't repeat anything. Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah,
Could they write really big?
that's
It's pretty
I would
tough.
like I would probably do that, you know. And this person said it changed their entire outlook on life. That was so hard,
Yeah.
but you had to really go through everything that pertains your life,
Mhm.
and it flipped a switch, and
Yeah.
that was 20 years ago, and it's still that once that switch is flipped, it's flipped, you know.
Mm.
So highly recommend.
Yeah. That's
um
fantastic. That's a really good exercise.
yeah, you said make art.
Yep. Or make anything. I mean, like I like to, like I said, lists. I'll list things because it can help me break it down, whether it's a pros cons list or things I'm grateful for or things I'm stressed out about. If I put it down, now I could break them down and figure out what did they really stress, like just
Mm.
really get to the core of whatever it is that's stressing me out. But creating things, I am very creative, and that doesn't mean everything I create is a work of art and beautiful. You can create whatever you want because you don't have to show it to anybody. I have a lot of people like,
Right.
well, I'm not artistic. It doesn't matter if you're not artistic. You could take some leaves and put them down on a piece of paper. And I mean, I don't care. Take a Sharpie and draw around them. Like, you don't have to be artistic. That's not what this is about. It's about creating something or holding something or finding something that you can hold in your hands and feel good about. Say, like, one of my newest acquisitions is honey calcite. So if you haven't felt calcite, get your butt to a gym store and feel calcite because it is magnificent. Okay, this stuff, it's smooth and buttery, and oh, I love calcite. But this is something that I can hold, and either I can think about where I got it. It happened to be a beautiful gem, huge gem store in Minnesota. And then I can think about why I was there. Well, I was actually there to say goodbye to my mom. We had her services up there, but it's okay because I got to be with family and friends, and I have good memories along with the tough ones. But I could think about just looking at this. It's beautiful and something that you find beautiful. You could hold in your hands. I also am a belly dancer, and actually, my phone currently is sitting on a whole bunch of belly dance accoutrement, right? So I
Oh.
have all these different trinkets to make jewelry and costumes with. I can hold something like this just because I find it beautiful. I don't even know the history of it. Um, I don't need to know that. I find it beautiful. It makes me smile. Find something you can hold, or find something you create, or find something that you like the texture of, even. One of the things I like to do in the mornings, if I'm just like really not feeling like waking up and I don't feel awake, is I'll literally just take my hands and rub them together. Do that. Rub your hands together, pull them apart. You can feel the energy. You feel that energy that you have just created. Okay. Okay. I can do that. If you have two hands, you can do that. Start small. Start with something concrete, something I can hold and look at or feel or smell. I've got scented candles everywhere. What is something that it makes me smile, it makes me feel good, it makes me feel positive about, this is so pretty, or, ooh, this candle smells really good, or, ooh, this is really soft, or where's my cat? I'm going to pick up my cat and pet him because he's so nice and soft. Something you can do to focus your brain right here, right now, even if it's for a few moments. I don't have to stress about anything outside life. I'm going to focus right here. This feels good. This feels happy. Now I'm feeling grounded and I can start to face my day.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. And it also brings you out of your head a little bit, obviously. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, and we've had that episode with breathing and how breathing takes you out of that too. That's important for me because, again, talking about being in control, I tense and I hold tension everywhere. And then I need to, okay, forehead, jaw,
Yeah.
especially, I clench my teeth all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And that
Oh, yeah.
physically gets me out of that state, but then it reminds me that mentally I need to get out of that state too.
Yeah. Mentally. Yes. So I found I was chopping meat the other night, making dinner, and I'm chopping up stuff for dinner. And I know this, but I really caught myself the other night. When I'm cutting, my teeth are clenched. I don't know
Uh-huh.
why. I'm not stressed. My teeth are just clenched. So I literally have to sit there with my mouth open,
Mhm.
or sing to myself, or talk or something while I'm cutting chicken or whatever, vegetables, whatever. So I'm not clenching my teeth.
Mhm.
It's just another practice in being in the moment and being aware of what my body is doing while I'm in my head doing whatever. I was probably thinking about something else until I realized that my jaw was exhausted. And I'm like, why?
Hmm.
Why am I touching my teeth? So it's just another one of those moments of like, okay, hang on, hang on. I'm going to bring myself back in. I'm going to check in with myself everywhere, up, down, over, under. Okay. Okay. Now we can continue.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. And it's great that you had that ability in that moment, like you said, to look from the outside in and
Mhm.
check and find a solution on what do I have to do to not clench
What
my
do we,
teeth.
what do we have to do? Okay. That's a
It's okay if you walk in Aaliyah's kitchen, she's chanting, she's probably chopping something.
I'm just chopping something. I'm trying not to clench my teeth. Thank you.
She's not summoning anything, she's just chopping.
Probably.
Uh, both are possible,
Might be summoning some ancestors in to help with the recipe.
right? Give it some love. Yeah.
Exactly.
Um, What I have done too is I'm a very A-type organized person, right? I love lists and calendar and all the
Mhm.
things and check marks and whatnot. Having a day in the week, usually on a weekend, works pretty good when you don't have to work, where you have zero plans and you prep zero. You don't even think about it the day before. Don't think that, oh, tomorrow I'm going to go to the farm. No, no. You wake up that morning and then you start really tuning in. How do you feel? What do you want to do today? And you do not have to work out. You do not have to do the dishes. I mean, maybe, if you need a plate, probably. But, it's not these, oh, I have to do all these things.
Mhm.
It's when you have to go with the flow, go see what's the weather like, what's my mood like, what's other people's mood like. That helps me sometimes a great deal. It's super hard, super
Yeah.
hard. That is harder than the surrender date that I was talking about, because in that action, I know somebody is in charge.
Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
I do that, I know nobody is in charge, and that's a level up for me.
Mhm.
Um, but
Yeah.
again, practicing that muscle.
Yeah.
Mm.
Practicing that letting go. It's okay. If I don't plan out my entire day right now, what's going to happen? The worst that's going to happen, I may stay in bed
Mhm.
or plant my little butt on the couch or my recliner, and that's where I'm staying. And it's like, meh, is that really such a bad thing? Maybe I need today. Maybe I need that today. hmm
Mhm.
And letting go of the guilt of, how much laundry I have to fold in my room right now, like physically. I did all my laundry. Don't ever do all your laundry, people. I did it all. And now there's a mountain of clean clothes that is staring at me in my bedroom. But you know what? Am I going to
Mhm.
feel guilty about it right now? No, no, I'm not.
No.
Uh, I'm going to get to it this week.
Yeah.
It's going to
Yeah.
happen. And the worst that's going to happen is my clothes will probably be wrinkly. But honestly, like I wear tank tops and capris all the time because it's really freaking hot in San Antonio, Texas.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um,
Well, because the guilt doesn't do anything.
no,
It's just
it doesn't do
negative.
anything but make me feel like
Yeah.
crap.
Mhm.
Like, it didn't do any good, and it's not helping in any way,
Yeah.
and I'm hungry and tired, so I wanna go eat something, and I wanna relax, and I deserve that right now.
Yeah.
So
And I think the other thing is, it's good that you mentioned that actually is finding some kind of activity that makes you feel flowy. Because you just mentioned you do belly dancing,
mhm,
and I do qigong and yoga, and those things, especially the qigong. And I think when I see the videos with the belly dancing, there's
mhm,
that flowing, very intricate, beautiful movement there, and it brings you
mhm,
in that it reminds you of water, and water is very surrendered. Water just flows. Water
yeah,
just does its thing.
yeah,
And that to me, that brings me in a more passive yin surrendered state. So I'm trying to practice that weekly.
yes, to go I mean, the go with the flow is a saying for a reason,
Yeah.
you know? Like, we can't depending on the amount of water, we can't stop it, and if you do stop water, what happens? It's gonna back up and back up and back up, and you might be
Mhm.
able to have a big enough dam to hold that water back, but at some point, it's gonna release, and the water's still gonna do what it wants.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've had countless examples of that just this year alone. The really horrific flooding we had in the hill country here in Texas, and the flooding that just occurred in my hometown of Juneau, Alaska. Um, and luckily there was no lives lost at that time, but just if you look up the videos, like you're like, oh, that's what happens when the water releases. It
Mhm.
does what it wants. It takes what it wants and it goes. So I think trying to fight things that we don't have any control over is the same. We can try to stop things, we can try to dam it up, and it's gonna keep backing up until it overflows. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love just the feeling of going with the flow and moving with the flow, moving like water moving. It's beautiful, and Tai Chi and even hula that tells a story and so many things. You're moving with the flow of water. And I mean, there's a reason what water is the essence of life.
Mhm.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah. And most people love the ocean or the lake or the river, or you love fountains. I love fountains. We love water. Water is fun to look at. It's beautiful. And it
Mm-hmm.
usually relaxes people if they don't
Mm-hmm.
have some phobia, you know. I have thalassophobia, so when I see people on the big wide ocean on paddleboards and there's whales and so, that's where it stops. But yeah, flow. Be like Bruce Lee said, be water, my friend.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. It's for me, I grew up in coastal communities. I do not live in a coastal community now, and I very, very much miss being close to water in general, particularly the Pacific Ocean, because that's where I grew up. And for me, it's very healing. Water is very healing, but particularly the Pacific Ocean. Like my dad and the whole side of the family are from Hawaii. And so when I go there and I get in the water on those beaches, it truly feels healing. Now, I have gotten in the water next to the glacier in Alaska. It's a very different sense and feeling of healing. I do miss that as well. It's very cold if you didn't get that. Very, very cold. But I love it. I love being close to the water. And that's one of the things that I absolutely miss being here in Central Texas. Not very close to any water. So
You
I
need to
miss that.
visit me.
Yes, exactly. I need to check out your ocean.
Yes. We have two.
You have two
We
oceans.
have two. You could pick and choose.
It could be in both. I could check them both out. I'm going to check out your ocean.
Yeah. Yeah. Highly recommend. This was fabulous. And we flowed.
We flowed and we went here and we went there.
We did. And yeah, it's a hard subject. And, you know, if you struggle with that, pick something of whatever we talked about today and baby steps. Start small and see how that feels, you know. Tune in and yeah, don't
Yeah,
think
if you hear that word surrender, and if it's a trigger for you, which it is for many people, feel free to reach out and we can discuss or think about what other word maybe is less triggering, but might have the same positive connotation.
uh-huh.
What could how about letting go? Maybe instead of surrendering, letting go of something that no longer serves us. Something like that. Just reframe, reword, grab a thesaurus or go on thesaurus.com and like find a different word that maybe isn't so triggering. And then maybe you can work with that rather than words that are automatically triggering to you. Or just let us know, reach out. We love to chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Comment wherever you're listening from, and we're happy to share thoughts and discuss and rediscuss and rediscuss. I mean, there's no end to that. And yeah, like, share, follow. Those three
Yeah,
things: like, share, follow. So,
absolutely.
all right.
Great. Well, thank you, Melina. I love chatting with you always.
I love it, and thank you so much for coming on and taking time to be with me, with us today, with all of us, and that was great. So I'm already excited for the next one.
Yay.
All right, y'all. See you soon. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope you enjoyed. You can give it a thumbs up, you can give it a review, you can share it with somebody you think might resonate with this. Have a great day. See you next time.